Hi, everybody. Welcome to Teen Lines today. Today, we're going to talk about what to do when you want your parents to let you stay out later. So I've heard from a teen, this is not the first time I've heard this. This might be relatable to a lot of you who's asking, can you convince my parents to let me stay out later? Dear Angie, can you convince me to let my parents stay out later? So great effort there. That would be fantastic. If I could convince your parents to do something for you, I would try to do that. Believe me, I'm here to help you, but that's not going to allow you the ability to find your own solutions for that. And you're going to appreciate it much more if you can do it yourself. So I'm going to give you the secret today to convincing your parents to let you stay out later. So I present it like that as if it's a secret, but it's not. We're talking about the same thing we talk about in all of our Teen Lines videos. It's going to be your decision of taking those actions to really make sure that your parents see that you're ready for this later timeout. So whether this is a 13-year-old staying out until 7:30 instead of 7, or a 16-year-old who wants their curfew extended beyond midnight. For any of these situations, once again, as always, you're going to have to take a step back from those emotions. So when you do that, first think about really what comes up for you when you're talking to your parents about extending your curfew. Why is it important to you? Why does it matter? What do you think it connects to in your life? Does it show some kind of standard of maturity? Does it show, and what are your parents thinking? You can't get inside their head, but you know them well enough to probably have some good indication of what's important to them and where their concerns are. So look at it and then try to figure out what emotion comes up for you when you're in this discussion about your curfew and how late you're allowed to stay out. So a lot of times teens are feeling like injustice. This is not fair, right? That's a feeling that you have when your parent is deciding an arbitrary time that is reasonable to be home and you don't agree with it. Maybe you're feeling really confident, you're secure in yourself, and you know how it's going to be and you're going to be okay. And so that's the feeling that you're coming with when you're in that argument. Maybe you're feeling furious if you are really angry that they're placing these rules and restrictions on you. That's your feeling and that's your emotion. So one thing that a lot of people don't do as humans, adults or teens, is take that time to recognize what emotion they initially go to. So that's just your first step, self-awareness of, okay, I usually get furious, or I usually get depressed, and I start comparing my curfew with my friend's curfew, and that makes me feel really sad, and then it just sort of leads into depression. So if depression is your go-to feeling on this, if anger is your go-to feeling, if injustice is your go-to feeling, notice that and just know where you come from at the first level, and then we're going to try to change it. So recognize where you are, and maybe take a deep breath and then go away from this for 10 minutes and don't try to resolve it all at once, but recognize, like, okay, that's the emotion that comes up for me when we get into these discussions about staying out later. So then you have to realize where your baseline is and think about how you want to feel. So now erase all of that, all the past arguments, kind of picture yourself in a different situation. See if you can think of having that conversation about the curfew, but what would you like to feel? Not what you already feel, not that place of depression or anxiety, whatever feeling you recognize that you usually go to. How would you most want to feel in that discussion with your parents about your curfew? So if you decide you would like to feel confident, if you would like to feel respected, if you would like to feel wisdom, if you would like to feel joy, decide how you want to feel. Which one appeals to you? And this is going to be a different answer for probably every individual watching this video. You guys are unique people. Each one of you is going to have your own circumstance and your own feeling about this. So what's really interesting is that the exact feeling doesn't matter as much. It doesn't have to be a different solution for a kid who goes initially to anger and for a kid who goes initially to depression. You guys know yourself better than anyone else. You know your mind and you know where your heart goes. You know what your feelings are. So think about it, recognize it, realize it, and then see if you can change from whatever your first baseline is, shifting it not 180 degrees in the opposite direction. You don't go from depression to joy, but just shifting it slightly. Find that initial emotion and then think about where you would most like to be. If joy is where you want to be coming from, if you want to be having that conversation with your parents and just feeling absolute like happiness when you're discussing your curfew, because you know that you and your parents are going to come to an agreement, they're going to realize your own responsibility level and your maturity. They're going to hear your reasons for why this is important to you and why this time makes a difference to you. And it's just pure joy and happiness. If that's where you want to be coming from, you can't get there in 10 minutes, but you can start with the first step. So taking your thought, once again, that focused thought for your brain, choosing a statement that works for you. So find your focused thought here. Possible ones that might work for you are, I'm responsible with my time. Maybe that's your focus for 1 week. Think that thought in your mind whenever you have some downtime, whenever you're considering how your day went or how your afternoon's going to go. I'm responsible for my time. Another example could be, I make good decisions. So when you think that thought, whether it's true in your life, maybe you made 3 bad decisions this morning and now you're saying to yourself, I make good decisions. Think about it, because that might not be the right thought for you. So you have to figure out which one of these statements works for you. I'm responsible with my time. I make good decisions. I do nice things for others. I'm thoughtful in my communication. So these are 4 possible thoughts. Find which one feels most true for you. Maybe you're not always responsible with your time, but you are really helpful for others. So then that I do nice things for others statement is going to be more true for you. But any of these 4 statements shows your ability to be responsible, to be kind, to be thoughtful, to have awareness about how you're spending your time or making good decisions. Whichever of these 4 thoughts that you choose, if you can focus on that for a week, see how that impacts your life. Your parents are going to see that impact. And then they're going to consider, I'm not going to give you a guarantee. I'm not going to be able to say your parents are definitely going to let you stay out until 3 a.m. here. But if your goal is extending your curfew, if you can make sure that you're in line with a behavior that suits you and that is responsible and mature, and you're acting on that every day, at the end of the day, realizing, if I'm saying this statement, I do nice things for people, can I think of 2 things I did today that were nice things for people? Your parents are going to see that kindness for you and that thoughtfulness, that you're noticing what is helpful to others and you're acting on that. If your statement is, I make good decisions, you're going to review that for yourself. See where you're making good decisions. You're going to feel confident about the decisions that you're making. You're going to make sure you make those good decisions, and your parents are going to see that behavior. Then when you ask, hey, this weekend something is coming up, Do you think I could stay out a bit later than my curfew? That is going to give you that opportunity that your parents are going to see that behavior, and maybe they're going to change their mind. Maybe they'll allow you to stay out 10 minutes later than your previous curfew. So this can go either way. You can be furious and go right back to 10 minutes, that's nothing. Or you can be thinking, that's an improvement. We're at step one. This weekend, I get 10 minutes more. When you come home responsibly, on time for that 10-minute extension, maybe your parents are going to extend it a little further. Maybe the next time for a special circumstance, they're going to allow you to be out later. So we have no guarantee for anyone else's actions. We cannot change our parents' mind. We don't have control over their thoughts and their decisions, but you can impact what you're doing in your life. And if your parents are still really strict, they're keeping that strict rule with your curfew, you know that you still have that I'm being responsible in my life. I'm making these good decisions. And when you know that you want that curfew extended, you have those solid reasons and clear understanding of why you have earned that later night out, that later time out. So hopefully, even if the parents don't change their mind about that, you can feel a bit more confident in yourself that you're paying attention to those actions in your life. And then maybe other people are going to see that in you. Your friends and family around you are probably going to notice, like, hey, you have shown a lot of maturity lately, or you are always really thoughtful, you're really understanding, whichever characteristic really sits true for you, people will notice that in you. You're really responsible. You're very reliable. Everyone's going to have different qualities. Maybe you're an introvert and you're more quiet and you're more respectful of your people's time and you're thoughtful. Maybe you're really outgoing and boisterous and you're always socially involved in 15 different things. However your life looks, you can still have a different quality and characteristic in your personality that suits you, that you know is true for you. Are you responsible? Are you on time? Are you always very considerate? Are you really, what are the characteristics that you have and the qualities that you have that make you who you are? And what are the ones that you want to focus on, your positive qualities? So people are going to be able to see that in your life. It's going to have some impact. I'm not going to be able to guarantee that your curfew will be changed, but I think as a parent, this is the most effective technique. If you let your parents watch this video and ask them, like, hey, do you think this kind of thing would have any impact on my curfew? Could this be like a 10-minute window of time that you would consider if I'm focusing on this every day? And you can see that. Asking them if they think that that's reasonable. Because I think for all of us as parents, we really want to make sure that you're being true to yourself, and we want to support you. We want to keep you safe. We want to make sure you're making those good decisions. And if you're showing that during the day, we know that we can't keep you forever. So at some point, we know we're going to have to let go of you, and you're going to have to make your decisions independently. You're going to be able to choose how you spend your time. You're going to be able to decide when you come home. So I just wanted to offer you this possibility. See if you can find one of these 4 statements, or if these are not working for you, find your own, write your own statement for what's true for you. That's what I have for today. Thank you. I hope it helps. Let me know any feedback that you have, teenlines.com.